All right. I call this meeting to order. This is the November 10th, 2020 meeting of the Johnson City Public Library Board of Directors. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are meeting virtually and are being recorded as allowed by Executive Order 16 by Governor Lee. Please indicate your understanding that this is our official meeting by saying yes. And Kathy, please call roll for the Board of Directors.
Tony Warner,
Yes.
David Gamer,
Yes.
Sarah Davis,
Yes.
Jennifer Dixon, Susie Williams, DJ Swadsel,
Yes.
Scott Jeffress,
Yes.
Georgina Washington,
Yes.
Daryl Carter.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. The first action today is the approval of minutes. You all received those from in the board packet. Any comments or corrections or any fun things like that? All right. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 And minutes are approved. Sarah, how about our treasurer's report?
How about that? I'll be glad to. Okay, at the end of October, total revenues are at 49% and total expenditures are at 34% of the budgeted amounts. With a 3 payroll month behind us, total personnel expenses are at 3% under the budget. Line item 55072, juvenile electronic materials, is over budget. And that is because of the purchase of additional electronic materials while the building is closed. Line item 5605, equipment and software maintenance, is over budget because of contracting with IT services while the library's technology and media manager was out on FMLA leave. You'll remember he has been had surgery and has been ill. How is he doing, by the way?
He did return to work. However, he has been out again this week, unfortunately. So we're all hoping for a full recovery still.
Okay, thank you. Now, line item 5702, security, shows a higher than usual monthly expense. This is due to officers being paid bi-weekly, and they were paid 3 times in October. The miscellaneous expense account group is also over budget due to a down payment for renovations in the youth services department. At a third of the way into the fiscal year, the total expenses are less than 1% over budget, which is great, I think. Questions, comments?
You
Okay.
answered my question about the electronic being over 100%. So that was a good explanation.
Can I have a motion to approve the Sarah's first report?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Sarah, could you do the Imagination Library report?
Yes. October 2020, at the end of September, revenues are at 47 8/10 and expenditures are at 34 5/10 of the budgeted amounts. In September, 5,228 Washington County children received Imagination Library books. I know they need them now more than ever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Questions, comments? Can I have a motion to approve?
So
All
moved.
right, well, okay, I'll second.
Georgina?
Yeah, her too. I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, approved. Julia, would you like to give us the report, your report?
Sure. Well, it hasn't been that long since we last met. But I do have a little bit to report. Our circulation, I'm looking at the wrong one. I think I put September in your packet, not October. I'm sorry. I'm just going to pull it up really quickly so I don't tell you misinformation. And I'll screen share so you can see it because obviously you didn't see this. Okay. Sorry about that. So this is our circulation for October 2020. And so you'll notice that we, of course, are down from last year, but from the previous month, we are up, which is great. Still seeing increases in adult, teen, and juvenile, and small climbs in digital for the month-to-month comparison. And this is, again, promising in terms of how we look at the service that we're currently providing. So it's on trend for us to have a small increase for the month of October from September. We usually see like a lot during summer and then kind of a dip and then kind of people get back into their routine. But one thing that I thought was really interesting, and you can see on the bottom there that I populated these fields of self-checkouts. That's not what that is. That's me doing math using Excel. And so what I wanted to look at was service hours. So last year we were open 60 hours a week, and at present we're open about 34 hours a week to provide service to people because we are doing just curbside. So staff comes in earlier, but we begin curbside at 11 a.m. and wrap it up at about 6 p.m. So we're offering about 34 hours of service at present. So we are down about 43% in terms of service. Now, if you look at total circulation though, we're only down 38%. So by that very strange logic, and I just kind of did this for my own curiosity, we're not as busy as as slow as one would assume. So if it's a apples to apples kind of comparison, you would think we would be down 43% if we were looking at it exactly where we were last year. So so that's kind of a good thing. So I'm just trying to figure out new ways to analyze the data as we're in limited services. It's kind of funny, but just something I was interested in exploring. And we did with that breakdown and the emergence of digital circulation really being kind of the bread and butter of what we're doing now. We are, as Kathy mentioned, spending more on those digital resources. You saw that with the services collection numbers, and that's translating into the adult collection as well. Now I mentioned we lost RB Digital as a vendor that we were able to use for folks. So that was like Acorn TV, and they had some great audiobooks, and they're no longer with us. So they got bought out by Overdrive. So we're pursuing a contract with another vendor called Hoopla, which provides digital content a lot in the same way as Overdrive, but they do have a pretty robust collection of video streaming content, audiobooks, and ebooks. But what's cool about Hoopla is it's set up a little bit differently. So it's kind of like metered service. So it's pay to play. So patrons would download the Hoopla app and they would see like you've got X number of downloads this month remaining. And so because we're paying for every single checkout, we have to cap them somewhere. So it's not ideal for like binge watching, but it's a great resource for people who are just looking for something quickly and they don't want to, there's no wait list because we're paying for every single circulation. So if you want that hot title, but you don't want to wait, Hoopla is a good place to check for it. So I'm excited. We're hoping to have that ready to roll maybe in January, February around there. But I'll definitely let y'all know when we get that one out. Since we spoke last, we have been working more on creating some sort of a computer service for patrons. And so we're hitting this from kind of two sides. So we've set up a temporary computer lab in the meeting room. And we're almost ready to roll on that, but we still are experiencing that increase in COVID cases. So we've kind of backed off of that a little bit, but we're still working through how to do it as safely as possible. And then we're exploring ways to circulate laptops to patrons who might need them. So we've pulled some different policies from other libraries who have been circulating laptops to get some ideas for how we might do that and do it well. And because we're sort of not ready, but we want to be agile with this, we're going to send them out into the world under what we're just calling a pilot project. So we're going to solicit feedback from patrons, try to get their ideas for what a good length of time would be for the circulation of a laptop, what they feel like a reasonable overdue cost would be for the circulation of a laptop if they don't turn it back on time. And I'm hoping that in doing so, we'll also have a greater level of accountability and be less likely to have our expensive resources just go missing. The hotspots, we can turn off a hotspot. So if it's overdue for too long, it doesn't do anything for them. We have a little more ability to control that. But with the laptop, once they've got it, there's just not a lot that can be done. So looking forward to that. So we've been pulling together plans and hopefully we can really get rolling on those laptops before too long in the next week or two, just to have something to offer folks. So that's kind of where we are right now, but I would love to answer any questions if you have them about what's been happening the last couple of weeks.
Do you foresee the laptops? Are you looking at thinking a week or 10 days? Or are you thinking an academic semester for a student?
Probably not an academic semester. We were thinking anywhere from like 48 to 72 hours to start, maybe up to a week. You have to remember our patrons are using them for very different reasons. So they maybe need to check out a laptop to purchase airline tickets or to list their house on the market or do something like that. So it's more isolated need than a full semester. That's not really a need that we're prepared to fill for the community.
Yeah.
But those smaller types of tasks we think we can help with.
I think it'll be real important to publicize the intent.
Yeah.
As we do that. Other questions or comments? Okay, well, I will also, I'm kind of glad that you gave us the September report too. It was kind of interesting to sit here and compare the two. Some of the numbers are within 200 to 300 of last month. I almost would ask you to do 2 months in the future when you send it out, because that kind of comparison to me is real worthwhile.
Well, so let me pull it up and I'll explain that second column there. That's what I have it. There we go. I'll pull it up and you can see. I'm a librarian. We don't like to point. We like to show.
I see
So
what
the
you're
second column always shows the previous month.
Okay.
And then
all right,
this one here is going to be the year prior.
okay.
And then this is my math cheating. That's
That makes sense.
subjects.
Okay. I have, my report is that I'm glad last week is over. And I'm sleeping better now. And other than that, I don't think I have anything important in library related to report. Amy, can you give us the regional library report?
Sure. I don't really have too much more from last time, but we are getting ready to take our break from training until spring. There's not much sense in having any kind of training during the holidays and during the worst of the months. So with COVID and everything, I kind of pushed everything back into the spring. Hopefully we can do more in person. But if not, we're ready to roll with virtual trainings as well. So expect to hear more about that after the holidays, and we can let you know what's coming. We have a regional board meeting on Thursday at 1 o'clock. That is being held via Zoom. So if you have any interest in that, please let me know. Your board representative is Polly Peterson. So I'm expecting that she will be there. And it's not a real big meeting, not a lot on the agenda. So hopefully it'll be nice and quick. The last thing I just wanted to mention is that we just got word that the new state library is progressing well. We had a bit of a setback with it in the in the spring when it was hit by a tornado. And then we were all hit by COVID. So a little bit of delay. It was supposed to open actually this week, but that is obviously not going to happen. So they're moving forward and it's going well. They're starting to get some furniture in and some of the bigger internal workings going and finishing up some external things. So we're hoping that they can be all moved in by April. So hopefully we can keep moving forward with that. And I will let you know when it is open and hopefully we'll be able to travel at some point and go visit the new state library because it's going to be beautiful. So I'm excited to see it as well. But that is about all that I have right now. If you have any questions for me, as always, I'm available whenever you need me.
And remind us where the library is.
It is in Nashville,
Thank
right in downtown.
Okay. Anything else for Amy? Okay, we'll move into old business, and that the only issue is kind of reconfirming or not confirming our opening and whether or not we should open. And I know that Julia's talked a little bit about still working with the meeting room and a library lab there. So what's everybody's opinions? Anybody? With
I don't think there's anything that suggests that we should change our mind on reopening versus what we decided 3 weeks ago. And I think from what we've heard, I mean, the staff's doing a great job just continuing to adapt, work on some things we think will be beneficial to patrons. And so I would just recommend that we support the staff in continuing on with that progress for now, Tony.
well, and with those with the increase of setting records daily in our particular area, I don't see any need to rehash the decision to remain closed as we are at the moment to the next meeting. Julia, do you have any thoughts, comments you want to make on that?
No, I think that that's fine. It doesn't seem like the right moment, and it's only been a few weeks since it was last discussed. So I think it's smart to revisit in December as planned.
Okay. Now we get to do one of my favorite things each year, Karen, is talk about this bundle of paperwork that you created for us. So let me turn the meeting over to you and Kathy to give us the audit report and your thoughts and reactions to it.
All right, thank you. I always enjoy being with you all because we always get to report on what a clean audit it is. And it's never any fun to go somewhere and tell people how many things they do wrong, no matter how much I try to put a constructive criticism spin on it. It never seems to come across that way. So I'm glad I don't even have to do that here. So I do appreciate that. The thing you want to know most often is what's in the very back of the report. It's like some of the books in the library. You want to read the last chapter first and then go back and see if you want to read the book. The very last part of it does tell you that you had no findings that were material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. So all the rest of that paperwork, I'll go over a few high points, but that's really what you want to know, I'm sure. And so I'm always happy to report that. The opinion letter is on pages 2 and 3 if you want to look at those, but they are a clean opinion. It's an unmodified opinion, no big issues. Julia's been kind enough to do the share screen and put it up here. So if she can scroll to like pages 4 through 10, I'll make just a few comments on those. If you are looking for something to read in this report and you really, just want to get a good summary of it, probably the best place to get a good summary is reading the MD&A that Kathy wrote, pages 4 through 10, that are a result of, after we go through the audit, her summarizing anything that was a difference or a highlight that needed to be pointed out. And then the other section would, of course, be in the notes to the financial statements. I think sometimes the narrative really helps bring out what the numbers mean. One of the things I really would like to emphasize in this is on page 10. Again, if you're having trouble sleeping, read the MD&A and the notes to the financials, and those will be things that can help you. But page 10, she really emphasized this section here on the operating budget and the information for next year. I think those are things that you all continue to look at, and it's important to do that. On the next page, which is the schedule of net assets, you do still have a very strong net position. If you're all the way at the bottom of the page after the liabilities, your net position still shows that your unrestricted part is $584,788. And then we have also restricted the monies that have come in for specific things that haven't been spent down. A lot of times you get certain grants that you don't get to spend all of it. We do explain those in the notes, but the numbers are on here as restricted net positions. If you go to the next page, and I do want to emphasize on page 11 and 12, we are looking at government-wide financials. I think most of you are familiar with that. If you're not, a government-wide financial has all the assets, all the liabilities, building any, if you had any debt, all of that would be on here. And that's not the way you see the reports on a month-to-month basis. You all use fund accounting, which is what you're supposed to use. But then we're supposed to also convert this to a government-wide. At the government-wide level, because there are some longer-term liabilities for vacation and sick pay, the change in the net position was a negative number of $20,000. But with all that went on this year, I think that's really amazing, and that's a very good. You finished very strong. If you go on to the next few pages where you get into the funds, you can see on the bottom of this page what the differences are between your fund level balance sheet, which reports everything more or less on a modified cash basis, and then your full accrual basis for the government-wide. The fund level accounting makes so much more sense for you on a year-to-year basis in budget and everything that you do, but you are required to do the other. So if you look at it that way and you want to go to the next page, you can see that at the fund level, you actually had an increase in the excess of revenues over expenditures of $30,794. And then on the very next page, there is a summary of how you get from the 37 to the negative 20, the 37 being what you would have at the fund level. And then once you add anything that's more long-term in nature, it would bring back to the other number. Again, I think these are really, really good numbers considering all of the changes and things for the year, everything with COVID. We see a lot of businesses that have really struggled in their numbers. They're not able to manage them as well as you all have. You've done a really good job managing them so far. The pages with the budget will show that you did not go over budget on any of your expenditures. You were able to hold expenditures even less than trying to cover the revenues, which is how you get to the 37,794. So you did an excellent job with that. As I said, the notes are all similar to last year. They are, I think, a good way to get an understanding of the financials if you're having trouble with the numbers. The only one that we really added was on page 18, we did add note 13 just to address the COVID situation. Something all of you know, and it may seem a little ridiculous to put them in there, but we felt like it was something that we needed to just go ahead and say there are uncertainties that we're all dealing with. And again, I've already mentioned your letter at the end, which was very good. No significant deficiencies, no material weaknesses. We do report 2 other letters to you that are in your stack of papers, and one of them just says what your responsibilities, our responsibilities to the board are, that we communicate to you what we've done, that we didn't have any issues in doing the audit, we didn't have any disagreements with management. If we have any journal entries, we attach those, but none of those were anything really as a result of errors or anything. And then we do another letter just of some general comments, but those again are not even a level of significant deficiencies. The one thing we always point out is that we do put the financial statements together. Kathy could do it, but she's got other jobs to do, and we just do it as part of the audit, and we just point that out to you. All in all, it's a very good report, and we really appreciate what a great job you all do as a board on staying top of everything, and especially to Kathy on the work that she does to keep the records so clean. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Questions, anybody?
I just had that one question on that one page you were going over about the losses, and it was 46,000 or something for outlays. I was just curious if you know what that was, or if Kathy wanted to answer that.
Is that the depreciation, Karen?
Can you give me a page number and I'll look at it for everybody?
It was
I want to say like 9 or 10, maybe.
It's page 15. And I think that's the depreciation where the capital outlay, the depreciation exceeded the total capital outlay of 60.
That's it right there.
Yes, yes, because at the government-wide level, you just, when you buy an asset, you just expend it at that point. If it's over the $5,000, you still just expend it. But then at the government-wide level, we have to put it on as an asset and depreciate it. So in this current year, you actually had more in depreciation expense than you had in new assets that were added. And so
Okay,
that
yeah, I see
flips
that.
it that direction.
Depreciation
but-
53. Yeah, I see the 53,366.
Yes. And the capital outlay was just for, I think the HVAC
Was.
work that had to be done, which totaled the 6,695. And so you didn't have a lot of additional large purchases during the year. The other two, just to briefly go over them, are you are required with revenue recognition to only report in the fund level what revenue comes in that you've earned that came in within 60 days. So at the fund level, the E-rate money came in late this year, and at the fund level, it ends up being like deferred revenue, but then at the fund-wide level, it's recorded as revenue. And so that flips that a little bit that way. And then long-term compensated absences for vacation and sick pay that you really absorb each year in your regular fund accounting and fund level work isn't spelled out separately as a long-term liability at the fund level, but it is added back in at the government-wide level. So those are the only 3 issues, and you can see how they flip them back and forth.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, if there are none, I would like a motion to approve the audit as we've had it presented and read thoroughly.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Great. Thank you very much for that, Karen. And now the corporate form 990.
All right, for the Form 990, It takes the numbers straight off of what the government-wide financials are. So if you look at the balance sheet for the 990, it will be the same as the balance sheet that says the statement of net assets rather than anything that you would be looking at fund level. That's the way the 990 is required to be filed. So it puts it on a full accrual basis of accounting for the 990. There are no other differences on the 990 from what's reflected in the audit report. Kathy has reviewed it for just to make sure that we got things in there like what you really have. I mean, we know you have a conflict of interest statement. You have other statements and things that we look at to see just a lot of yes and no questions in the 990. Nothing really unusual in it.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Okay. Could I have a motion to approve our Form 990?
I move that we approve Form 990.
Very good.
Who seconded?
I'll second.
Georgina. Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Great. Karen, I'm amazed every year at your ability to explain this stuff and understand it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. The only thing we need on the 990 then is just the signed 8879, and we'll get it electronically filed. It is due the 15th of November. So sounds good. Very good.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other items of new business that we need to discuss? Julia, anything else from you?
I think we're in good shape right now. We're looking forward to the next month and the holiday season and
Yes.
all that it brings.
Okay. Everyone, thank you very much for joining us today, and stay safe and mask up.
Okay. All right.
Was that
Julia, I did plug in, so
Thank you.
you can count me at present, okay?
And that's Susie Williams, correct?
Very good.
Thank you, Susie.
Thanks, Susie.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. You all do a great job. I wish I was young and agile and knowledgeable like all of you.
You're very kind.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you
Bye-bye.
soon.
Bye.
Everybody. Thank you,
Bye.
Karen.
Thank you.